We're mic'd up with Montgomery.
Welcome to Real Talk, where real estate meets real conversations.
I'm Sean Harvey.
And I'm Brittany Newhart.
How are you today, Brittany?
I'm good.
Good?
I'm good. Yeah.
It's looking like it's going to be another great Monday.
It is. It is. I think that, I don't know, it's going to be a good week. The weather isn't horrible yet, so.
Well, we haven't had much snow, so it's just cold that we're dealing with, but we don't have to shovel cold.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I'm not good at bundling up. Like wearing a coat is hard.
Wearing a coat is very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. But much better than freezing.
Yes. So let's talk about some things today. And one of my big things that we've been getting a lot is there's a lot of new things in Montgomery right now.
There is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're rebranding Montgomery a little bit. We've got new logo, as you can see. That's starting to roll out everywhere. We've got some new things happening in our office. We're updating our front lobby. We've got two new agents. Gary Geeler from Realestate Connection joined us, and Brian Watson from Realestate Connection both joined us. We're glad to have them on board at Montgomery. And then, as you know, we have Brittany, Mary, Janet. Rayma's our office manager. We've got Alex, and then myself at the office here. So we got a lot of great agents.
Yeah, and now you're the sole owner.
I am the sole owner, yeah. And that's kind of where we started with the branding thing. We just wanted to kick off a fresh look and try some new things and see how they go.
There's a lot of new, like everything's painted and it just looks nice. It's so modern. Like on the outside of the building, it's still the same, like iconic look of Montgomery, but it's kind of neat to have that updated modern feel.
Yeah, so Montgomery's been around for 61 years now. So we are in the large 2-3-story building we've got here on Dakota Avenue still. But we're trying to give everybody kind of a more modern feel, kind of change things up a little bit, kind of keep up with the times, keep things rolling forward.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah. Cool. So one of our other topics that we want to do every week is talk about real estate terms. So one of the things that people ask, like, why do we need this? And it seems kind of pointless. So we're going to talk about earnest money today and the reason why we need earnest money. Kind of if it falls through, how do you get it back? What it goes to. So.
Right. Yeah. So I've actually I found a really good definition of earnest money online, and I'm going to read that because I do feel like it really showcases it very well. Earnest money or a good faith deposit is a sum of money you put down to demonstrate your seriousness about buying a home. In most cases, earnest money acts as a deposit on the property you are buying. You can deliver the amount of earnest money as soon as you get an accepted offer or when you write that offer. So earnest money from a seller's perspective is pretty important because the seller wants something to hold you to the transaction so that 3 weeks go by and you decide, well, I changed my mind. The seller doesn't really want you to do that without something tangible there to kind of hold you to the transaction.
Yeah, and for the buyer, it goes towards your home purchase price. So it's not like you're just giving them thousands of dollars and then paying your purchase price. That's going to be shown in there at the end.
Yeah, and it's really a negotiable point, earnest money. You know, I have some buyers that'll put $100 in earnest money down, and then we have some buyers that want to put $10,000 of earnest money. And it's really a negotiable point, and whatever you as a person feel comfortable with as well. But it does show good faith in an offer, shows your seriousness about an offer. And the biggest thing to realize with any earnest money, though, is that if the transaction falls apart for any reason, before we can release it out of our trust account, which often becomes a struggle, is that we have to have buyer and seller agree on where that earnest money goes. Yeah. If the property closes, it comes right off the price. But if the property doesn't close and falls apart, that's when we sometimes have to figure out how to negotiate that out.
And like a reason why a seller would want to keep your earnest money is your closings don't take like a couple days or weeks. They are a few months out. So during that time, they're not really looking at other offers. They're not marketing their house as hard. So they could possibly be losing out on
Absolutely.
Offers.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why.
Every day that goes by that a seller has the house off the market under contract is another seller they could potentially lose in theory. Yeah. So it's very important to have the earnest money to the seller.
Because even if it's under contract, sometimes that does turn away a lot of buyers. Buyers could still look at it, but a lot of buyers don't want to put in an offer and waste their time. As even you could do like a second offer and stuff like
Yeah, buyers can always put in a
backup
backup offer just in case something falls through. The
It's work.
Often, it does work quite frequently, and we're more than willing to show for backup offers.
You still see it. Like, I have a lot of buyers that are like, there's an offer, and I'll look at something different.
Well, I think sometimes as a buyer, you're sitting there saying, well, it's already got an accepted offer. What if I fall in love with it?
Yeah.
What happens then? Yeah. Then I'm just getting my hopes up for something I may or may not have.
That's true.
So it really depends on the buyer and the situation.
Yeah. And then people always ask us, do you know what their price is when they do a second or a backup offer? And we don't.
No, we don't. And
unless it's one of our own, but we can't tell you.
We can't tell anyways because we keep that all confidential.
Yes. Yep. So we want to talk about relationships between realtor and client and stuff, of how that goes, of what we can kind of talk about, what we can't, especially with the dual agency. There's a few more things that we want to kind of keep to ourselves, but normally we're an open book.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So market trends, is there such thing as a good time to sell?
My answer to that would be whenever you are ready.
I think that's a good answer.
So there's a lot of variables that go into when is a good time to sell. Well, that's different based on absolutely every person in the world. If you're switching jobs, if you're relocating, if you just can't afford your house, then that's a good time to sell.
And like that stuff, yeah, it makes you have to sell. Yeah. Like there's factors where you just want to sell.
Right.
And if you can wait, sometimes it's good, but
historically, the warmer months are always a little bit easier to sell a house. It's a little bit easier for a buyer to picture moving when they're not moving through snowbanks.
Yeah.
And keeping the doors open on the house during the winter while you're moving in and out and tracking snow in and out is always a challenge as well.
Yeah, that's never fun. And yes, in a house, you still have to mow your yard in the summertime, but in the winter, you're doing ice melt and scooping snow constantly, and it's kind of
right.
There's more people to mow a yard than to scoop snow sometimes if it's a vacant house.
But we, over the last several years, we have remained very steady in sales throughout the winter. If you're looking to sell your house, I would not say wait until spring or summer to do it, because you may very well miss out on a potential buyer that's moving to the area.
Or needs a house right now.
Needs a house right now. So I would say at any point that you're ready to sell your house, go ahead and do so. Just take into consideration that weather and other things do play a factor in buyers. And
the other hard part is when you have a loved one pass away and you need to sell their house. So getting that house ready and making sure that you're prepared to sell too.
Right,
and a good time for you personally.
It's a very emotional time for people. And, at Montgomery Realestate, our agents have a lot of patience with that, and we really understand that. So we're willing to take the time with you to figure out how this looks, what it looks like, and then also kind of be your shoulder to cry on at closing day if that's what you need.
Yeah.
Because it does happen.
Yeah. And there's a lot of times like the process can get difficult and it can get hard. So you kind of have to, it's hard when you already have high emotions with it.
It is, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, that kind of leads us into our next topic of what it's like to be a realtor. So a lot of people think, you just do our paperwork and put in an offer and give them a call and tell us what we want to offer. There's a lot of things on the backside too.
Yeah, actually, we last week in our advertising, we posted this booklet of pictures, is what it is, and it's 179 reasons that a realtor is worth their money, and the list just goes on and on. But between telling you what your house is worth, getting the house listed, marketing the house in all different aspects, getting the people in there to look at the house, doing caravans, open houses, negotiating those offers. There's just so many things. And then once you get an offer, if you don't hear from us for a while, it's because we're trying to put out all the fires that people don't ever see.
Yes.
There's, right now I'm working on one that has an encroachment onto some land, and we're trying to figure out how to figure that out and get an easement drawn up. And truthfully, the seller doesn't even know that we're doing that right now, because that's our job, is to put out fires before we ever have an issue.
Yeah, because you don't want to have everybody worry about every little thing. They're already packing and
yeah, I mean, stuff. Selling a house is stressful. So if I can put out a fire without anybody even knowing we put out that fire, then that's a win.
Yeah. Definitely.
Because if you don't, people start getting alarmed and nervous, and rightfully so. We've sold several houses, and we know exactly how you feel with that. So the less stress we can put on the seller or the buyer at any given time is the way we prefer to do it.
Yeah, and sometimes being that middleman really helps. I had one instance where I had a client come to me, and their son sold without a realtor. They're like, we'll never do it again, because they're working directly with the seller, and they knew that person, and it just didn't have a good relationship by the end of it, because you are negotiating prices, and money talk is hard talk.
It is, yeah. You're negotiating prices on, and oftentimes we're not only negotiating house prices, but we're negotiating prices on appliances or furniture or
hot tubs.
or inspection negotiations get really messy.
They do, and people see inspections. It's difficult because it's a whole booklet of everything wrong with your house, and people get defensive. Yep. So that is the best time. Like, price is a good negotiation time, but definitely inspections, it's hard.
Well, and there's things that, even in my house, if somebody came and did an inspection on my house, I might say, really? I had no idea that was wrong. So it really throws a seller for a loop, because they maybe didn't even know there was an issue, and then the buyer wants the issue.
You're not crawling in your attic every month?
No, I don't. I can honestly say I have never been in my attic, and I've lived there for almost 9 years.
There you go. We just built our house, and there's probably still stuff wrong with it. You never know. So let's kind of move into some personal life stuff. So, do you set New Year's goals, Sean?
So I will be completely honest. Last year I did set New Year's goals.
Did you hit those goals?
I would say I had an attainable amount of goals. So I think I had 7 goals, and I hit 5 of them.
Oh, that's not bad.
And then 2 of them are more of a continuation. So this year, I have a lot of drive, and we've got a lot of momentum here at the office. But I didn't set any goals yet this year. I think I probably will. I don't know that you have to set goals by the first of the year. That's my excuse. As long as you're setting a goal continually and always looking at that to strive.
Yeah. Do you set I want to sell this many houses, or doing
I don't. So I don't set that goal. I never have. But I would say that more so our goal in real estate is to make sure that every buyer and seller has a good experience, and just try to do the absolute best that we can in every situation. So, because real estate, sometimes you get hard feelings, people get upset, people are happy, people are sad. There's a lot of different emotions that go into it. So at the end of the day, I just want to make sure that I know you do too. We just want to make sure that every client that we have is well taken care of. So that would be my biggest real estate goal.
Yeah, because there's a lot of transactions that don't go well, but you try to keep the relationship good, knowing that I know this sucks for you, but we're still here for you.
Yeah. And there's no perfect real estate transaction. I mean, we've had some really good ones. We've had some really rough ones. But as long as we're taking care of people, I guess that would be my main real estate goal. How about you?
I set goals all the time. I set a lot of goals throughout the year, but it's always kind of I want to see myself do this. I want others to see me, how I want them to see me, and how I want my family to see me. And a lot of them kind of was I want to include my family more. This year, I talked a lot about more media presence and stuff. I want to put myself out there more and show who I am, because a lot of people sometimes, you see people and they're like, oh, I didn't know you did this, or I didn't know you did that. So I want to put myself out there more this year. So I'm going to probably start a podcast.
I think we're here. Yeah.
Oh, check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I think the other thing of setting goals in any, whether it's real estate or any career that you're in, you have to set the personal aspect of it.
Yeah. So
you have to take that time for yourself. You have to take that time for your mental health, because some of these high pace, fast jobs, they can really consume your life.
Yes.
So you really have to take
your wife has mentioned that.
Yeah, you have to really take that into consideration, and sometimes you have to set personal boundaries in any job that you have. Maybe you don't answer your phone after 8:00 at night, or not respond to text messages before 8 in the morning, or whatever that looks like. But that's something I think that is also very important in just about any job that you have. You have to set some boundaries for yourself
Definitely.
so that you can maintain your mental well-being for everybody that you're working for.
With real estate, you kind of have to do some sort of like goal financially, because you don't know what you're going to get paid until the end of the year or until each transaction. And it can be difficult for people who do it full time. And for me, I haven't done it full time yet, just because I have young kids, and like, I just don't want to rely just on myself. And that's where this year I'm pushing that more, so that I can have a pretty steady income.
Yeah, I remember taking that jump from a full-time job. I was full-time and then part-time real estate. Money. And I remember taking that jump, and it was terrifying because I have a wife, 2 kids, dogs. I mean, everything needs to be taken care of. So
you have no idea.
It's a big jump.
Yeah, hourly. Well, that's the thing. Some transactions you put in a lot of hours, and some transactions you put in some hours, but you're still doing the same amount of work, whether it's a $60,000 house or a $600,000 house. Correct. And that's what sometimes people can see as hard, because you're doing all the hours, you're doing all the difficult tasks, but it's a variation of the income.
It is, yeah. So that's, with goals, I think you have to take all that, especially in the real estate or banking or, anybody that owns a small business or works in sales a lot of times, you really have to take that into consideration.
Because everyone wants to be financially comfortable. So.
Absolutely, yeah. But you also need to maintain your mental well-being.
So, yes.
So there's such a
balance. Yeah, it's a little hard, but so we're gonna do some random questions. So I like to pop quiz you. Okay. Because I like to surprise you.
We'll see how I do here.
Yeah. So the question this week is: are you dependent on spell check, or are you secret spelling bee champion?
Absolutely dependent on spell check. Yes. There are some times where I'm trying to write something and I have to type it into my phone quick just so I make sure I double check that it's correct.
Yes. And like names can be so hard too, because your phone auto corrects it to something different. And so that's difficult. Or the voice texting. Oh my gosh. That can be horrible.
And on this topic, so spell check is a wonderful thing, but when you're texting your clients, sometimes you really have to go back and double check what you're texting people. Yes. Sometimes it doesn't make any sense. No. Sometimes it puts words that should not be said in a professional business in things. So.
Oh yeah, I'm horrible. Like sometimes I'll have my headphones in, and it'll be like, "Oh, do you want to text this person back?" And I'll say no, but it doesn't hear me, and it starts listening to what I'm talking to. And it starts typing its own thing. I'm like, oh gosh, don't send. It's always fun. So
thankfully, most phones have come in with an undo send or an edit what you have, and then nobody ever looks back at the original.
Hopefully not. Yeah. So, well, since you think that you can't spell, I'm going to ask you to spell a word.
Okay.
Okay. The word is baloney.
Honestly, I have no idea.
Right? Like, I was like, why is it such... And like baloney shows up on like this difficult spelling word list, but
so I would say that when I sound it out in my head, I say Bologna.
Yes, that's how it works. It's like lasagna, Wednesday. It's like Wednesday. Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those things your kids tell you to pick up from the store, and you're like, okay, but I don't know how to write that on the list.
Well, who also buys bologna anymore?
Well, that's true.
Yeah. You guys buy Spam still.
Yeah. Went to the Spam Museum once.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Family trip.
Yeah.
Okay, well, coming back to the end of this, like what's coming on this week, I should say. Like not the end of this week, but throughout the week. So what is all going on? Do you know?
Oh, this week?
Yeah.
Well, we got a break from City Commission this week because it is a holiday. Today is Inauguration Day and Martin Luther King Day, actually. I think there's bingo at the VFW this week, isn't there?
Yep, Fridays
from
at the
7
mall.
to 9.
Yeah.
Okay. We have Diamonds in the Denim at Holy Trinity. They're doing their annual Diamonds in Denim Gala, which is a huge fundraiser for Holy Trinity School District. I know that they really rely on a lot of that support, and they could use a lot of that support. Running a small private school is not cheap. And all those kids need the same attention as anything else. So if you're able to go to that or donate items to that or buy stuff on the auction, I know that they would greatly appreciate that.
And it is an online auction and a live auction. So
yes,
if you can't join, there's that.
Right.
But there is tickets for it. So
there is tickets. So you'd want to stop by I believe it's the Holy Trinity Catholic School office.
Yeah.
And you can buy your tickets there.
Perfect.
But that's Saturday night. And then
we've got,
what do we got this year?
Nothing really.
Nothing else this week.
Burger Battle's coming up.
Burger Battle on all of February, I guess. So there's burger ambassadors that the chamber's putting out there.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, they got pretty funny descriptions on those, which is
like
neat.
Two patty and
it's pretty fun to see.
Yeah.
But I think last year it was a huge success. This year they have even more people involved in it. They're getting more creative. They're having more fun with it. Last year was kind of the first year, so this is the second year, so people are getting a feel for it, kind of figuring out some different fun ideas, and I think that's going to be big. It'll be big.
There's a lot of towns that do it, and I think it's a good way to get people out more in those cold months because a lot of people just want to go home.
It gets to be hard to leave the house again once you go home after work. And you got to go out and it's 10 below. You're like, But if there's a burger battle competition, that's a game changer.
Yes, because you kind of want to hit them all.
So. Absolutely, yeah. See, I think there was 10 of them.
Yeah, there's quite a few. I was reading the list, so.
And if you want to know where those are at, you can go to the Huron Chamber website and
Huron Connect too. Right?
And Huron Connect, Facebook or website, and I think it's all listed on there. And they actually have descriptions of what they have on the burgers.
Oh, there you go.
And who's doing.
I know what to expect.
Yeah,
no surprise burger.
Right. Yeah. So you kind of know what you're going to get there, and. I mean, some of them, I was reading them the other day, and some of them are pretty neat,
Yeah. I like how, like the Mexican restaurants do, like, a Mexican burger. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because then, keeps it, like, a pizza burger type of thing. Makes it,
and I think there was even one with a waffle bun or something this year, so.
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
maybe.
It'll be. I think
it'll be. You gotta try them all,
Absolutely, yeah.
Whether you like it or not, you gotta try it.
Yeah.
Or you think you like it. Because sometimes those weird combinations you randomly like.
I think at the fair one year I had chicken and a waffle.
I guess that
is
the
South Dakota State Fair, and honestly, that was pretty good.
Yeah, so I feel like,
and you just never know. So.
Yeah, like stir up on chicken sounds horrible, but
it was not the end of the world. Yeah, I would definitely go for another one.
There you go. Start your own burger battle.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so next week we're going to talk about how to prep your home for showings and listings. So, yes, you have to prep it for photos, but also to show each time because that's a reoccurring thing sometimes for months. So
absolutely.
Sometimes hard to keep your house clean.
Yeah. That's probably the hardest thing about listing your house is how do I keep it clean? I've got 4 kids and,
just move out.
Nothing is perfect. Nothing is perfect, but you just have to try.
And a lot of people see past that. So we're going to talk kind of how the best way to prep for it and to get ready for photos and for showings. And then how to pick a realtor. There's a lot of people that think you can only pick the realtor that's on the sign in the front yard.
Right. And that is absolutely not true.
So we'll talk about that and kind of how to interview your realtor. Because that's the thing. There's personality differences between all realtors and people that you clash with and stuff that work great and that might not work great.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that topic because I think there's a lot of learning to do in that aspect.
Yeah, especially first-time home buyers. I think for myself as a first-time home buyer, I called the person on the sign. You just don't know. So, and that's what you think you have to do. And I ended up with a whole different agency by the end of it because you don't know who to call or what to do. So it's kind of nice. We're also going to talk about interest rates and kind of what happens to the market that we see when it drops. So we're not going to get into too much of the lending side of interest rates, but kind of what we see. It's a supply and demand type of
absolutely.
So, realtor relationships. So kind of the vibe in our office. We're very family-oriented office, I think. So
yeah, we are. Yeah.
That kind of there.
Yeah, if you go downstairs right now, there's probably a kid running around.
Yeah.
But we just want everybody to feel welcome here. We want it to feel like family, and we want you to enjoy your experience. So
yeah. So maybe we'll take a tour sometime in the office. Show you around. There's a lot of awesome updates. So, and of course, every week we're going to learn more about each other. So
that's right.
Yeah. So, well, we'll see you next week.
And remember, who you work with matters.